Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's Friday, and this is the Hostos Student Leadership Academy Friday Ambassador Workshop Series for the fall of 2021. We're happy that you could be here with us today. It is 10:15, and we are lucky to have the incredible author, motivational speaker, dynamic human being, Giovanni Derice, with us today. He goes by Geo. And we are excited that he's returning after being with us multiple times last year and actually being the keynote speaker at the CUNY Emerging Leaders Conference last year. He has a great program for you. We have a lot of new faces here today. And so without further ado, let me get out of the way and put it in the hands of my good friend, Geo. Thank you, Geo, for being here. We really appreciate it. And welcome to the Hostos Student Leadership Academy Friday Ambassador Workshop Series.
Super. I'm super excited to be on here with you guys. Let me just share my screen. Let me just close this right here so we're on the same page. Let me get a 1 in the chat if you guys can all see that. Just want to make sure that I don't move any further along until I see that we're on here. I got my phone on here just to make sure that I see it. All right, Yazine said, yes, we can see it. All right, we're ready to go. All right, so I'm super excited to be on here. I have a quick question for you before we get started. By show of hands, not show of hands, on a scale of 1 to 10, I should say, how selfish would you say you are? 1 being, I'm not selfish at all. 10 being, no one likes to be around me because I'm always selfish. Let me know in the chat, which one are you? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being, I'm not selfish at all. 10 being, I'm really selfish. I see Ramondo says 5, Junior says 5, Jasmine said 4, Kobe said 3, 2, 6, 6, 2, 4. Okay. All right, I don't see no 10s. Star says 2, but I deserve to be a little bit more selfish. Star, I want to just give you something right now. I'm going to let you know that this program and what we're going to be talking about today, I am giving you full permission to be selfish. Anybody Geo, like, selfish? Like, are you sure? Like people don't like those kind of people. Like, people don't like anyone who's self-centered. People don't like anyone where the world seems like it revolves around them instead of them being a part of the world, right? We've all heard this whole stuff before about selfish. And as a matter of fact, the reason why I call this program selfish is because I firmly believe that this is probably the most important program I've ever put together. I've been speaking for over 10 years. Over 10 years, I've talked about everything from leadership to communication to business building, all of these things that I've talked about for 10 years, all over the country, all over the United States, I've done this. And it always comes back to what we're going to be talking about today. What we're going to be talking about today is probably the most important subject you will ever hear a program on. And I know that's a lot to say. I know, like, last week we had Saint and he talked about how to go and make sure that you are able to tell your story a great way. And I was like, oh man, that's good stuff. But I would argue that even if I was to go and tell a story, if I don't get what we're going to get out of this presentation, that story won't be able to be told at the highest level. And so today we're going to be talking about self-ish, right? So, like, I love the TV show Black-ish. Talks about all this stuff black in the show and makes fun of it. Today we're going to be talking about all things self. All things self is what we're going to be talking about, because here's one of the things. Tell me if this is true. Put a 2 in the chat if you agree with this, that we go to school, we attend college, and we're told, hey, what are you majoring in? What subject are you studying? Let me get a 2 in the chat if you're like, hey, I'm always asked, what's my major? I'm always asked, what's the subject matter that I'm going to be focusing on? I see 2s coming into the chat. Okay, cool, right? We always hear, what's the subject matter? I'm a subject matter expert. I'm a subject matter expert. But one of the things that I feel like we don't talk about enough, and sometimes it gets overlooked, is the idea that while we should know some subject matters, we should not miss the point that we too are subjects that matter. I'm gonna say that again. While we need to go and study subject matters, math, ELA, social studies, philosophy, all the sciences in the world, tech, all these things are subject matters. But I would say to you that those subject matters don't matter if the subject, you, is not at a high level. If you don't have good self-care, and in the middle of the pandemic, one of the things that I've noticed about the pandemic is it made every single person evaluate their relationship with self-care. Because even if you were rich, come on guys, listen to me. It's one thing when I'm sitting here and I gotta be stuck at home, I'm in my 1-bedroom apartment, and I'm thinking about, man, I wish I could go somewhere else. But we had millionaires, people who are rich, who were told, you got to stay in your mansion, and they were getting depressed. Now, I'm sitting over here like, I'm confused. You got like 7 bedrooms. You could switch things up. And still, nonetheless, even though they had plenty, the pandemic made them feel an element of, man, I'm out of control. Oh my gosh, I got to look at myself in the mirror. Wow, I got to go and see, like, what am I going to do? And it was all of the sudden, what came to the surface was the problem of money can't buy that. Money can't buy that. So you rich, you can't buy that. So then I started to think about why, like, what do we have? And at the end of the day, we're always left, when everything is stripped away, we're always left with ourselves. That's the one common denominator. No matter where you go, you go. You can't say right now, Junior can't go and say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and, for those who like the Yankees, I'm sorry for using this reference. I know they're not in the playoffs anymore. But if Junior was to go and say, I'm going to go see a baseball game, Junior can't go to the baseball game and Junior not be there, because Junior has to take himself. And you can't separate Junior from Junior. And so when we think about this idea of selfish, you can't be a good leader being a part of the Student Leadership Academy and not have a relationship and understand you. You can't be the best employee you want to be if you don't understand you at a high level. Let me go a little bit deeper for those who's getting ready, because February's coming and all this stuff, and Valentine's Day. You can't even be the best thing. You can't be in a great relationship when you are not at a great level. And so what I've noticed is it literally comes, and I'm giving you this whole big introduction because I want you to understand why is this so important, and why do I give this distinction that this is probably the most important program I've ever put together, and why I'm so glad that on a Friday when it's super sunny outside, and I know we're running out of sunny days, that you are all on here live to go and watch this actual training happen and this program happen. So kudos to you for that. But here's the thing I want you to get as we get started. I need you to get a pen and paper. I need you to get a pen and paper for 2 reasons. Number one, it sets your mind and mood to know I am putting myself in position to receive something. I want you to get a pen and a paper. If you want to use your phone, that's fine as well. But I need you to have some type of tool that you're going to use to take notes in this presentation, because the topic of today is you. At the end of this presentation, I want you to go and realize we are all enrolled in our own university. We're literally in junior, you in junior university, Kobe, you in Kobe University, Kim, you in Kim University, Yazin, you in Yazin University. I want us to all understand that while we may attend Hostos Community College, while we might be going to school, that you not dismiss the fact that you are also enrolled in the school of self. And the better you are at that school, every other school, every other room that you enter will be thankful for that. So now let me just talk about self-care real quick. When we think that self-care and everybody's talking about it, we normally think about these. I see these pictures every time I Google it. I'm like, oh man, my self-care is not where it needs to be. Typically, these pictures all of a sudden seem to come up. I don't know about, like, I don't know which one is you. I don't know if you're the gentleman with the hand on his head saying, I can't believe this. Like, I can't take another assignment. I can't take another Zoom. I can't take another virtual this, virtual that. I don't know who that is, but some of you, just put a 1 in the chat if that's you. If you're like, that gentleman, that describes exactly how I felt this morning waking up. That's how I felt last night when I went to sleep. Danielle says, that's me. Yazin says, yep, yo, that's me. Kobe, like, yeah, like the laughing emoji, right? Like, man, that's me, Lamb said, right? Who is it in here? Give me a 5 if you're the person who's like, listen, can someone just hide me underneath my laptop? Like, who's the person? Give me a 5 if you're like I just need to hide. Like, I want to escape. I just want to be a ghost for a moment because life is happening to me and I just needed to not know where I am. Who's that? I see 5s flooding the chat. Junior, Kim, Jasmine, Serti, Christian, right? I see 5s. Danielle says, I think I'm all the faces, Geo. Like, can you just tell me, let's just skip the going one by one. Like, just say the letter D, all of the above, right? Like, that's me right now. And when we think of self-care, we normally never notice that our self-care is out of order until something happens. No one cared about self-care. I'll be honest with you, I didn't care about self-care. Like, yo, hey, you have a self-care routine? Why? Why do I need that? Like, why do I need self-care routine? Then all of a sudden, I had to sit home with my wife. She's a teacher, now an assistant principal. And now we were sharing and we became co-workers because she now started to work at home. Now, all of a sudden, when my normal got disrupted because of the pandemic, all of a sudden, now that I have this new thing that I'm unfamiliar with, oh, dang, what's my self-care routine? Because now it's only when the problem comes do you go and say, shucks, why am I so anxious right now? Why do I feel all over the place like the young lady who got like 600 things on her laptop, but probably also has 20 tabs open on her computer? I don't know who's that in the room, who I'm talking about right now. Well, you know, you got your computer on right now with 20 tabs and your phone got 10 tabs and you got all your apps open and your phone is like, hey, can you just reboot me or charge me? Like, I'm overwhelmed. And it's this idea of when the problem happens that we start to see, what is my self-care routine like? Or we notice the lack of self-care and how if we don't do something about it, that we're going to drown. And so this is the thing, just to show you that self-care is not just a conversation amongst us. There are 3.58 billion search results for just the word self-care when I Googled it. 3.58 billion searches. 5 self-care practices, there's books, there's videos, there's quotes, there's affirmations, there's coloring books for adults. Like, there's so many, there's plant therapy. Anybody know about this? Am I the only one who just got put on about plant therapy? I'm looking at people in the rooms and I'm like, when did you start planting? Hey, I'm a plant dad. Hey, I'm a plant mom. And I'm like, plant mom? Plant mom? Like, what's going on? Like, I thought we had pets. Now we got plants. like it's going to another level. Saran says, what is plant therapy? Right? I didn't know that, says Jasmine. I'm seeing it in the chat. Danielle said, I never heard of it. And here's this idea. Let me just quickly share this with you. And you Google it on your own. You'll see more about it. But plant therapy is basically people are getting plants and they're starting to go and see how they operate, study the plant, notice how it's growing, notice when it's not exactly thriving, knowing when to water it, all these different relationships and guidance, right? Where here's the interesting thing I love about the plant therapy. When we look at the plant and we're like, after 3 days of not watering it, it looks a little different. It's not growing. That is something that is very noticeable to us. But here's what is interesting about us. We don't notice when we don't get what we need for 3 days. We don't notice that we're withering. We don't realize, oh my gosh, I didn't get any sunlight, and so I'm not going to be able to grow. The plant allows us to see metaphorically what we look like, because when I go and water the plant every day, I may be reminded of what am I doing to water me every day. This is the beauty of, Kim says, I got a cat, right? So you look at it and you start to notice all of a sudden, wow, the plant metaphorically represents me. I can now see when I handle it with a certain level of care that I'm now more intentional, and then that also can then transfer over to me. And so that's just a snippet of it. Definitely look it on your own. It's definitely something that's becoming more popular day by day. I'm seeing it from from even the most macho person in the world is coming out, and I'm like, he's like, hey, I gotta water my plant. One of my best friends, one of my good friends. I gotta water my plant. I literally walked into the office. I had to sit down because I was so shocked. I sat down, I said, excuse me, what you said? He said, I gotta water my plant. When did we start doing this? What you mean water your plant? He said, Geo, I do, you ever heard of plant therapy? I said, no. And he literally told me, I never was exposed to it until I worked in this new company and everyone had plants, and I started to ask them, what is this about? And it allowed them to slow down just enough to be able to catch something about themselves so that they can go, when things speed up, they can be more efficient and be able to do it at a higher level. So this is just the whole idea of plant therapy. Now, here's the question I want to ask for all of you. And I want you to just put it in the chat. If I was to ask you, what is the #1 disease in the whole world? What would you say it is? Let me see it in the chat. What is the #1 disease in the whole world? I'm looking at my phone. Heart disease, says Kobe. Mental disease, says Danielle. Sabrina says cancer. I see cancer again. Depression, HIV, cancer. Wow, Jason said loneliness. I see depression, diabetes. I'm familiar with diabetes, unfortunately. Stress. Okay. Anybody else? What do you guys think it is? Stress, depression, diabetes, loneliness, cancer, heart disease. I see a lot of them. Cancer came up again. Kidney disease, right? All of these are legitimate diseases that we're all familiar with, and we've all maybe know of somebody who has had bouts with that. And I would have said heart disease when this question was asked to me. And my mentor, he asked the question. I said, heart disease. He said, that's a good guess, Geo's close, but that's not it. I said, well, how is that not? People have it, like high blood pressure, high this, high that, blood sugar, all this stuff. He said, no, Geo, the answer is not that. He said, the #1 disease is got to be something that every single person will have. I said, wow, okay, tell me more. He said, Geo, not everyone gets cancer. Not everyone has heart disease. Not everyone has diabetes. And so I said to him, hold on, what is something that everyone has then? And he said to me, I see perfection is a disease. Hey, yeah, never lie, Jasmine. Sometimes it feels that way, right? He said to me, the #1 disease, Geo, that everyone, you could filter and say cancer for this, heart disease, but everyone's gonna have this disease, and it's called self-esteem, low self-esteem. Low self-esteem is something every single human being will go through at some point in their life. I said, whoa, hold on, are you serious? He said, yes, everyone. Now, it doesn't mean that you always have it, but you've had it at some point. I see Yazin said, oh my gosh. Saran, oh wow, I didn't even think about that. That's so true. When my mentor told me that, it blew, guys, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, like it blew me away. I was like, yo, hold on, low self-esteem. I said, I need no more context. I need more information. I'm with you on the fact that low self-esteem, everybody deals with it and has a relationship with it at some point in their life. But can you please explain to me, like, what's the gravity of that? Because if I got diabetes and I don't address it, there are consequences to that, right? There's like, hey, well, you know, you can get a stroke. You might go and get paralyzed in some things. You might lose a foot. You might lose some limbs. Like there's some consequences to my diabetic situation. But I asked my mentor, when you say low self-esteem, can you like really paint a picture of what does that look like for somebody? And he said to me, Geo, well, let's go down through the matrix. Geo, if you got low self-esteem, how do you think about yourself? I heard so that says it's worse with social media outlets like Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Absolutely. Like when you think about self-esteem, like put in the chat, guys, like what do we understand self-esteem to mean? Like how would you define it? Like how would you define self-esteem? Not even the low self-esteem. What does self-esteem mean, period? Let me just see it in the chat. Like what do you know it to be? There's no wrong answer. It's like, what do you remember it? What do you recall self-esteem being? Danielle said confidence. Okay. Jasmine says morals. Nari Sia, I hope I said your name right, but I'm gonna call you Nari for short. Hopefully you don't mind. Confidence in yourself. I feel that I am not enough, says Lamb. Kim says you don't like yourself. Serty says you are scared, you don't love yourself. Oh, guys, we're about to get into this. Y'all get a little ahead of yourselves. We're gonna dive into this. Like, this is deep, but I'm telling you, this is going to set someone free. I promise you. Like, someone's gonna walk out of here and you're gonna be able to say something to yourself that you've never said before because of this moment that we're in together, that we're sharing, right? So I see it. When everything that other people says affects you, affects your self-confidence, how you view yourself, positive or negative, you guys are good. This is an amazing group. I know we just met, but I'm excited. I'm excited. We are all on the same page about what does self-esteem look like, right? How do I view myself? And here's the interesting thing. When I don't view myself as someone that matters, when I don't view myself as something to be held in high esteem, I'm easily overlooked. Nothing special about me. There's nothing great about me. I don't have confidence in me. That low self-esteem will then lead to, again, remember I asked my mentor, I need to know the layers. If it's the number one disease, it gotta have layers. So he said, here's the next layer, Geo. When you have low self-esteem, you now have a high level of self-doubt. I said, what? He says, Geo, how much confidence would you have if you got low self-esteem? By the definition that many of you said in the chat, low self-esteem tells me I got low confidence. So if I got low confidence, I'm full of doubt. I'm full of doubt. Geo, there's a, Junior, there's a great opportunity. There's an internship that they're going to be doing at the UN, Junior, and I want you to go and apply for it. Well, if Junior got low self-esteem, Junior is going to have high level of self-doubt. So Junior is now going to look at that UN opportunity that Jason just told them about, and he's going to say, Jason, that sounds cool, but I doubt that I will get it. I doubt that I will get it. So why should I even bother to try? Right? Someone saying, hey, scholarships, jobs. Hey, that person was looking at you in the classroom. I think they like you. I doubt they were looking at me. They were probably looking at the person behind me. I doubt that they would want someone like me. Like we start to say these things and we start to literally doubt the very thing that we wish we could have. I doubt it, not sure. No. Let me get a 2 in the chat. I feel like, Gio, I've had some moments of doubt. I've had some moments when self-doubt has been something that has drowned me from being able to do certain things. I see twos. Okay, right? Self-doubt will have us check out of opportunities and moments that we wish we could check in and never have to escape from. Like literally self-doubt. So now I'm like, okay, low self-esteem leads to self-doubt. Tell me more. There got to be another layer, right? Yes. The next layer is we start to self-sabotage when we have low self-confidence and when we doubt that the opportunity is ever going to give us a favorable outcome. So what does self-sabotage look like? Anybody like has ever heard, put a 1 in the chat if you ever heard the term self-sabotage. Have you ever heard the term self-sabotage before? I see ones. Let me get a 7 in the chat if you've never heard the term self-sabotage. A 7 in the chat if you've never heard of it. Okay, a couple of 7s. Good. I'm glad you're here. When it comes to self-sabotage is when the opportunity is in our hands and we do something, even it could be sometimes on purpose, but often it's unintentional. We didn't literally try to mess it up, but we do mess it up. So it's like the person who goes and says to themselves, okay, if I have low self-confidence and I have doubt, a high level of doubt, then when someone gives me the opportunity, I'm going to do something to make sure that the result that I desire is less likely. So here's a good example. You heard that there's a job opportunity. You made a deal, you did a bet with somebody that you was gonna go to the job. Even though you're full of doubt, you're like, all right, fine. I said I would go. I'm gonna keep my word. I'm going, fine. But I have doubt. I'm not confident I'm gonna get it. Self-sabotage, how that looks, is you go to the interview. Literally, they told you. You guys have done this. I'm sure you've been exposed to trainings where they tell you how to dress for a job interview. But because you have this low confidence and you got high doubt, you start to self-sabotage that. They tell you, hey, when you go to a meeting for an interview, here's the colors to wear. Wear black, navy blue, a dark gray, a certain brown. But because you don't have confidence, you go wear red. You go wear red. You go with the do-rag on. You go ahead and you show up late. I ain't gonna get it anyway. Why I gotta show up on time for? And we literally will go and mess it up and not always on purpose, unintentionally. Our behaviors will literally squander the opportunity. So now some things are happening here. The doubt sometimes keeps us from going to the thing in the first place. But when some of us, we might get enough courage, or we've made a commitment to something or someone else, that we will enter the room. But when we enter the room, we wreck it. We mess it up. We make a mess. Oops, shucks, shouldn't have done that. Oh, well, I knew I wasn't going to get it anyway, so it's no big deal that I showed up late. Oh, I know I wasn't going to have a good time anyway, so it doesn't matter if I show up to the party on time. Like, we just start to self-sabotage the thing, and we start to pollute a pure situation. We pollute a pure situation, say, nah, I'm not going to get it. And so what happens is now we get an experience, and we have evidence now to back the fact that we shouldn't have had confidence, why we were justified for having doubt, and why everything that you touch gets sabotaged. And so here's what happens when you have those three things in play. When those three things are in play, you start to question your self-worth. When you have those three things at play and they're not working for you, you start to question your self-worth. You start to say stuff that, it doesn't matter if I'm here. No one is ever going to notice me. What are you worth? Nothing. What's your value? What do you bring to the world? I don't bring anything. You start to say stuff like, the world would never miss me if I was gone. And all of a sudden, we start to say these things that make us get our value, whatever it is. We start to go and bring it down to a point where it's so small that we just don't feel like anything matters anymore. Nothing matters. It doesn't matter what, come to a leadership training on Fridays, doesn't matter. I'm not a leader. I don't have no potential to be a leader. I'm not worth anything. My parents never affirmed me. My parents never said anything good about me. And so all of a sudden we tap into all these self-esteem, self-doubt, self-sabotage, self-worth. And then we start to have self-hate. I hate myself. I hate everything. And if you ever seen this, let me get a 5 in the chat if you've ever seen, you've ever been exposed to a hater. Let me get a 5 in the chat if you've ever been exposed to a hater. Hater, right? I see the haters, right? Okay. Hate, we've seen the haters, right? Haters, haterade. Oh my gosh, they need haterade, all this stuff. We hear this whole thing about hate. But here's the thing that I've noticed about hate. I've noticed that those who hate, that's all they have. Like, think about it. They can't give you what they don't already possess. So when I have a high level of self-hate, that's all I can transfer over to you. So maybe you have a boss that you feel like hates your guts and you take it personal. Hey, this person doesn't like me. They detest me. No, they don't detest you. They have self-hate. And here's what I've noticed about hate. Hate stinks and it's heavy. Let me say it again. Hate stinks and it's heavy. And so when something stinks, I want to throw it away from me. And when something is heavy, I want to offload it so I am no longer carrying it. So when you have someone who's hating on you, they're throwing away the thing that, I don't like this. I don't like how I'm feeling. So they transfer their feeling to someone else in hopes that by getting rid of the feeling, I will feel better about myself. But here's the thing that I've noticed that I want us to all not forget. Because it's self-hate, even when you transfer it, it still stays with you. Isn't that crazy? Like, even though you try to hate on everyone else, it doesn't make you feel better for long. It actually, because it's self-hate, it starts to go and it recreates itself and it's still there. And then we get frustrated because we're like, I gave it away. How did it come back? And so what we need to do is to realize, how do I change this conversation? How do I go and change the stuff that I have so that I got something good to give? right? So let's dive into this, right? We had all these things: self-esteem, self-doubt, self-sabotage, self-worth, self-hate. Can anyone tell me in the chat, what do these 5 things have in common?
Self.
I see everybody in Christian, Jasmine, Nari, Supreme, Shirley, Annie, self, right? So this is what it has in common: self. And I've done this program so many different times, and I've heard people say, Geo, hold on, I have a question. And feel free, by any chance, if you want to go and if you have a question, just put it in the chat. I want this to be a dialogue, not just Geo's talking, and we're gonna have time where I want to hear from you as well. But some people have told me, Geo, my parents never told me that I was special. So my self-esteem is low because they never told me I was special. And I said, and in that moment, I say, number one, that's unfortunate that you were never affirmed and reminded of how you're great, how you're special, how you're unique, how you're one of a kind, and how the world is going to be blessed by your presence, right? While that may not have been told to you, and I don't know if that's somebody's story in here, maybe you don't have the parents that shows a lot of TLC, right? I mean, some parents, they love, everyone loves differently. For some parents, loving is, I gave you a place to stay. And then to another parent, loving is, give me a hug, right? Like it looks different for different people. Danielle says, this is my story. Danielle, first of all, Danielle, thank you so much for being so transparent and vulnerable in this space to say, hey, that's me. Who else is that? Like, who else is that? Is that your story? Where, like, Danielle, you say, hey, you know, some people don't see what my value is. Who else is that in the room? Danielle says, but once she saw that I was going places, she wanted to insert herself into my life. Kim says, when a person is a hater, leave them alone. Kobe says, I can relate to the story as well. Danielle, I love what you shared about the fact that when you are going places, they insert themselves. And I would say to you, who was responsible for you going to places? What happens is, yes, we love help, but we have to also become self-efficient, practice self-efficacy, and say, I am the person who is going to benefit the most from where I'm going. And so because of that, it is my responsibility to do whatever it is that is necessary to have that happen, even if everything around me does not give me what I need, right? So I see myself, I see the environment, right? Sometimes we're a prisoner of our environment, but I would say to you this: while they may not have given you esteem, they can't give you self-esteem, because that is only one person who can give that. Your experiences, right? I want you to understand, I need you to start to protect yourself. Almost like someone who had a newborn baby, and whenever they hear somebody is sick, they don't want those sick people to be around the baby, because they want to make sure the baby doesn't get sick as well. I want you to start to look at yourself as someone who, you're such a precious jewel that you need to make sure that you protect yourself at all costs, so that you're not contaminated or catch the hate, the negativity that is often contagious in the environments that we find ourselves in. So self is a common denominator. And here's the beauty of this. This is something that should liberate all of us. If it's on me to deal with building my self-esteem, then I can always control that, because I am always in control of myself. Now, we might say, sometimes I can't control my circumstances, but I can control my response to the circumstances. So there's still an element that I have control over, even though I can't control everything, as far as how I respond to something that I am in control of. This is the problem. The thing of self is so important. Why is this, Geo? Why are you still on this topic? Here's another thing. For those who know math, we got $1 million. Let's say there's $1 million, or 1 million resources, 1 million ways for you to be successful. and we multiply that by y being you, right? So y is you. And if we multiply y and you feel like my self-worth is 0, what is 1,000,000 times 0? Anybody can put that in the chat? And he's got it. And he got it quickly. 0, right? I see the zeros, right? So 1,000,000 times 0 is 0. And so what happens is when I don't have a high level of self-care, love, worth, value, esteem, lack of doubt, like I don't have doubt. I'm sure of myself. And when I say sure of myself, understand that confidence, we can't build it, but we can always build skills that make us competent. And the more competent we are, which means, like if I told you, hey, I'll need you to go and make this recipe, the first time you do it, you're not going to be that confident because it's your first time. But if you do it 20 times, you would have increased your competence. And the increase in your competence will give you the confidence. Let me just get a 7 in the chat if I didn't lose, if you follow me so far. I don't want to lose anyone. A 7 in the chat. Your competence, when it goes up, automatically builds your confidence, right? So when we think about this 0, 1,000,000 times 0, here's what they look like. 1,000,000 people can line up to want to help you, but if you feel like you're worth nothing, nothing will happen. The cool thing about this equation, though, is that if I multiply 1,000,000 by any number above 0, including the number of 0.0001, that will actually give me a number higher than 0. And then I can then multiply that number and start to exponentially grow. But I must be at a number above 0 in order to get something above 0. So it's important for us to understand that I need to, by the end of this program, I need you to get off 0 and get that number as high as possible so that whatever is multiplied to you exponentially grows 10, 100, 1,000, 1,000,000-fold. This is what we're talking about today. This is why it's so important that we make the emphasis on us today. This is why I'm saying I want you to be selfish, because the reality is that if you're not, then what you're going to give to others is not going to be favorable. So let's talk about self-love. Self-love. I kid you not. I'm going to tell you a quick story. Back in November 2020, I decided to get a new car. I had a car for 12 years. It was loyal to me, a nice Toyota Corolla. It was great to me, didn't never break down, anything like that. It was cool. I was like, I want something different. I want something new. I need something more up to date, whatever. So I decided to go and get a new car. Got a brand new SUV, beautiful rear view camera, all the works. You stick your foot out, the trunk opens, it's whatever, it's cool, right? Now, I love this car. I gave it a name. I call it Snow Leopard or Snow White. It depends on whether I'm feeling beautiful today or if I want to go and be super fast, right? Snow Leopard or Snow White. I gave it a name. I also gave it car washes regularly. So now my Toyota is looking at the new car and it's like, you washed me 5 times in 12 years and you go and give this new car a new wash every 2 weeks? Whoa, what's going on? What happened was my level of love for the new car was very high. Danielle's laughing. My level of love for the new car was on another level. Annie, my love for the new car was on another level. Don't judge me. But even when I was to go and like pick up my wife and it was raining, I would literally ask my wife, hey babe, did you step in a puddle by any chance on your way to the car? She says, no. I said, all right, good. Because had you stepped in a puddle, I would need you to take off your shoes and put it in the trunk because I don't want the car to get dirty. I don't want the puddle, like the puddle foot in my car. Like I need you to understand that. Other things, babe, I'm so hungry. Let's go to the drive-thru. Hey, I love my new car. So I got rules now. Look, I got standards. So I told my wife, hey, I don't mind going through the drive-thru. I just need you to know there's no eating in the car. She said, what? I said, there's no eating in the car. She said, are you serious? Like, you're acting mad different. We ate in the other car all the time. That's cool for the other car. I love this car. I need this car, no eating in the car. You wait till we get home. The food's gonna be cold. Then we probably should just order DoorDash or something. Like, you can't eat in here, right? So I see, hey, why there are new rules. I have standards now. Oh no, you wrong rules, right? Danielle, listen, hold on. I think, did I lose? Did you guys still see my screen? Hold on. Okay, good, we're back. Right, so I see it. I see haha. Okay, cool. So my level of love for the car made me change how I treated the car. What I noticed was when my love was high, self-care, the way I cared for the car was different. I don't even put regular gas in this car. I put premium all the time, even though the prices are high. But my level of love for the car is tied to my level of care with the car. So here's the thing I want us to all understand when it comes to self-love. Self-love, right? When we talk about, hey, self-care, the pandemic, all these things, when our self-love goes up, so does our self-care. I'm gonna pause for a second. When our self-love goes up, our self-care goes up as well. Take anything that you got that's brand new, whether it's a new relationship, whether it's a new car, like in my case, whether it's a new place, right? You treat it differently, right? The love changes the game. Go to school, not majoring in something you don't love, and tell me how much will you care? You're not. You're not gonna care about a major that you don't have any love for. Now, I'm not saying that you love everything, right? Like, I love the car. I don't necessarily love paying for premium gas, but I understand it makes the car operate better. So I give the car what it needs because I love the car, right? So there's stuff like that for all of us. Danielle says a new cup, a mug collector. Oh, we got a mug collector in the building. Okay. Nice, right? And you got your new cup, right? So, like Danielle, you probably drink the best coffee in the cup. You probably leveled up the kind of tea that you're drinking because you're like, no, you probably wash the mug every day for like a few weeks or so because it's new. I love my mug. You said you're a collector, so there's probably places specially placed. These mugs don't go with all the cups. The mugs have a special place where they hang out, and it's only mugs allowed. Like, you have a different, I just got a new mug yesterday. Bath and Body Works, over 200 items. Oh my goodness, you remind me of my wife with her hair care products. She loves her hair, and so her hair care is at another level. If any of you are saying to yourself, Geo, my level of self-care is not out of 10, if you want to change that, we need to then find a way to love ourselves at a higher level. If your self-care is not going up, it is giving you an indication that your self-love is running low. And if your self-love is running low and you've been waiting for other people to love you, the reality is that your self-love will remain where it is. And so I want you to understand this idea of you need to increase your level of self-love. And there's ways we can do that. I'll share with you throughout this presentation. But as that goes up, the self-care automatically follows. It's not like maybe, it just does, right? I see, well, people can have no self-love, but give love. Danielle, I love that you said that. And please, guys, let's talk. I'm looking at the chat. I'm always looking down to see if anybody's saying anything. Danielle says that I can still give love even though I don't have self-love for me. And I would say to you, Danielle, that is true. But here's the thing. What I've noticed is that just because I give it doesn't mean it's of the highest quality. I'm gonna say that again. Just because I give you love doesn't mean that's my best love. Jasmine said that's my weakness, right? So like, when I said be selfish, I want you to be selfish because, oh, Daniel said, well, it's for my son. I give love to my son. My son gonna get the best love. But Danielle, here's the thing that I've noticed, even to my friends who are parents. And for those of you who are listening to me right now, if you're not at your best, you can give your best effort in giving love, but it's still not your best love if you're not at your best. Like if you're not okay, like let's say you're tired. Like think about this, Danielle, if you were sitting around and you're hanging around with your child and your son was like, Mom, I want to go and race go-karts. I want to go and let's go go-kart racing. And let's say you just worked a double shift at work. You went to class. So let's say it was today and your son wanted to go to go-karts today. And you went and you had work in the morning. You jumped on a leadership training. You got some assignments you got to do tonight. And then at 8 o'clock, while you're dead tired, your son says, can we go? You being the loving mom that you are, you're still going. But you might not be as energetic because you're running on low. And so, yes, you will give your son your best, but it's not the best because in order for you to give the best, you have to be at it. Let me just make sure you follow the train of thought, right? I just want to make sure that we get it. We see this a lot in relationships as Suri, right? Yes, I still would take him. Danielle, I know you would take him. Of course you would. I'm not surprised. We would all do it. Like loving parent would do it. I'm tired. I'm still going to go, right? We're still going to do it. But the idea is, what's the quality of it? We can't give 100% out of 50. I can't go, hey, I need Danielle, give me $100 bill. Well, gee, I only got a 50. Well, if you only got a 50, you can't give me 100. Even though you really want to give it to me. Gio, I really want to give you $100 because that's what you need, but I only have 50. And so I'm giving you all that I have. So it is my best, but it's still not meeting what I need. I don't let him see me at my worst. He don't know, hey, mommy, tired. I don't show that face. But think about the energy that you have to take to not show the face. And because you've done it for so long, we don't never notice it. This is why the same thing with the plant therapy part. We don't notice, oh, snap. I am a functional person, but I'm still not at my best. I'm functional, but I'm not thriving. And I'm saying that, yes, there are going to be days you're still going to have to do it when you're tired. You can't just say, hey, I had a good night rest. Now I'm going to take my son to this thing. But what I'm saying is we need to fight to go and make sure that we don't do that all the time, because then all we're doing is giving someone less than 100%, even though it is 100% of what you had. And I'm staying on this topic because it's relevant, what Danielle is talking about. And a lot of us go through this in our relationships, whether maybe it's not your son, maybe it's a loving parent that you're taking care of. Maybe it's a job. Like if you can't do your best work and not be taking care of you, like it doesn't work. Like I'm a different person when I'm rested than when I'm not rested. But it doesn't mean I'm not trying my best, but it's still not my best. Like let's call a spade a spade. If I tell you to go to 300, whatever street it is, right? Let's say 300 Flatbush Avenue, and you came to 301 Flatbush Avenue, 301 is not 300. And so if you go to 301, you can knock on the door till your knuckles bleed, and you're still not going to have me open the door for you because I don't live at 301. I live at 300. And so even the best intentions doesn't get the result. And the reason why I'm adamant about talking to all of us about this topic is because I don't want you to miss out on your best stuff because you just never thought to ask yourself, what do I need to be at my best? Who am I at my best? And make sure you create environments to ensure that your level of success is at a high level because you positioned yourself to be that way. Like this is so important that we understand this thing, right? So how do we get there, Gio? How do I get to this higher level? If we get there by being curious. By being curious is how we get there. I want us to be more curious. Curiosity, anybody can tell me what curiosity is in the chat? What does curiosity mean? What do you know it, or what does it look like when someone is curious? Danielle says to wonder. Yes. What if? Discovering new things, says Yazine. Yep. Exploring options. You want new knowledge to learn, says Annie. Yep. Right? Curiosity. Discovering new things. Hey, I never tried that before. Let me try it. I'll tell you guys, I was second grade, I met my first love. Now everybody looking at me, you met your wife in second grade? Nope, I did not meet my wife in second grade. I met my first love in second grade though. And my first love is, drum roll, pizza. Don't judge me. Pizza was my first love. I love me some pizza. I'm sorry, people. If you're like Geo, if you're someone who works at Pizza Hut and want to give me a Detroit style pizza, I'm gonna be your best friend. If you go and know of the best pizzeria wherever you live, introduce me to that place because I love me some pizza. Me and pizza, we met in second grade and it's been together ever since, right? It's a side chick. My wife is like, yo, dad, pizza again? I was like, babe, I love pizza. I can't help it. I'm sorry, right? So, but here's the thing that I noticed. I never had pizza before second grade, but I was curious about it when the class was having it. And when I was curious, because I acted upon it, I got this something new that I tried. All of a sudden, I found something that I ended up loving. And so what happens when we're curious and we're exploring and we're discovering and we're trying things is we open ourselves up to find something, new interests. So if your life is boring right now, I would probably say to you, your level of curiosity is low. Because the crazy thing about curiosity, it can make, by asking questions, you can make old things new. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Curiosity can easily take something that was stale and dull and make it look like a brand new thing. Literally, just by asking stuff. Your level of awareness goes up. I'm curious, oh my gosh, what kind of engine is in this car? Oh, there's a V8 engine, this and that. Oh, wow. I'm curious, what other features does this car have? Now, all of you as students should be doing the same thing when it comes to your major. I'm curious, what kind of jobs does this major provide? I'm curious, what kind of level of salaries are there? What's the salary range for someone who studies this type of thing? I'm curious, what kinds of people work in this space? Are there people who are introverts or are there extroverts? I'm curious about that because there's something I know about me. And so I want to know, I'm curious, I want to have a better awareness of if this is a good fit for me. Curiosity helps open the door to a lot of things, right? So when we are curious, it increases. Another self thing came up, guys. Another self thing came up, self-awareness. When I'm self-aware, I now all of a sudden can be able to go and make better decisions and better position myself to do well. So what you might say, Gio, give me an example of that. If you know you're a people person, listen to me. If you know, Sabrina says, I'm working on a speech right now about introverts and extroverts. Ooh, that's a good speech. That's a good topic right there. That's a good topic right there, right? Like if you know if you're an introvert, you know that about yourself because you're self-aware. You know you went to your university. You went to the school of you. Because you know you're an introvert, you are not going to be the person who's going to be greeting people. If your job says, hey, we need to put you at the front desk so you can greet everyone that comes inside. Whoa, I'm an introvert. That gives me anxiety. I don't like that. So maybe they're going to say, hey, we want you to work behind the scenes on everything. Well, hook me up. I'm an introvert. I can do that. I don't mind working behind the scenes, but giving me a lot of people to be around gives me anxiety. Well, how would you know that? She says, that's me. Danielle says, I'm half and half, right? And sometimes we could be extroverts when we need to be, but we're normally leaning towards one direction versus the other, right? But when you're aware of that, it helps you to make better decisions, and the decisions we make determine the lives that we live. If we want a better life, we have to make better decisions, better choices. And how do I make better choices if I'm not mindful of how do I make choices and what is best for me? When I increase my level of self-awareness, I'm able to position myself to succeed at a higher level. I can show up at a level 10 so that I don't miss out on level 10 opportunities. But if I'm not aware of that, then I may not show up a certain way. Who is in the room right now who's watching me, who you know if I don't have breakfast in the morning, Geo, I am not a good person. Put that in the chat. Say me if that's you. Like, if you don't have breakfast, you are not a person. Danielle says coffee. I see me. Maricia says me. Kim says me. Jennifer says me. Yazine says me, right? Like, no breakfast? Oh my gosh. Now listen to this. I want you to really take what you know about yourself. They know me in Duncan, says Danielle, right? She's like, I run on Duncan. Jennifer says, the same if I don't sleep well. Well, Jennifer, if you know that when I don't sleep well, I'm no good, then you know that if a big moment is coming tomorrow, then rest is a requirement that you must address so that you position yourself to succeed at a high level, because that is what you need, which leads me to my next slide, which talks about the most important question that I think you should ask yourself every single day. So those who are taking notes, you want to write this down. This is the most important question that I believe you need to ask yourself. And questions, if you ask yourself questions in a day, it's super important. As a matter of fact, Benjamin Franklin is on the highest dollar bill that we have, the $100 bill. He was not even a president of the United States, like some of the other dollar bills had presidents, like Abraham Lincoln on the $5 bill and stuff like that, George Washington on a $1 bill, right? Like, so we had these presidents, but Benjamin Franklin, not only he wasn't a president, but they put him on his face on the highest dollar bill. So when I saw that, I was like, man, I need to learn more about Benjamin Franklin. So I went to Philadelphia, where he was originally from. And when I went to Philadelphia, I started to notice all the things that Benjamin Franklin created. He created the post office. I went across the street, he created the library. I went across the street, they said he created the museum. They said this walkway was created by Ben. And I'm sitting here saying, man, Ben created everything. And so I went a little bit deeper, again, because I was curious. I said, I gotta know more. I gotta know more. I need more new knowledge. And I read that Benjamin Franklin would always ask himself 2 questions every single day of his life. I'm like, if he could do all these things and he asked 2 questions, I need to know what those questions are. And the 2 questions he asked was, in the beginning of his day, he would say, what good am I going to do today? What good am I going to do today? His morning question. In the evening, he would ask, what good did I do today? What good did I do today? So he was saying what he was going to do, and at the night, he checked to see what did he do. Those 2 questions served as bookmarks to help him know how to live his life to the best of his ability. So when I saw that, I started to notice that asking myself key questions are the keys. If you would like to think like DJ Khaled, I got the keys. The keys is I need to ask myself questions, because the reality is this: life is one big Q&A. Q&A. Q stands for question, A is answers. But here's the thing: you don't get answers without the questions. It's called Q&A. No one ever said, hey, we're gonna have an A and Q at the end of this session. At the end of this presentation, guys, we're gonna have an A and Q section. You're like, what is an A and Q? So answers and questions? No, it's questions and answers. You ask me a question, I'll give you an answer, right? But we have to have the question first. You was a thinker, says Ken. Yeah, you was a thinker, definitely. Right? Thinking, think. There's nothing wrong with thinking, people. So here's the question, the 4-word question that I want you to begin to start asking yourself every single day. What do I need? Put that in the chat. I need you to write it in the chat. What do I need? Put that in the chat right now. Put that in the chat right now. What do I need? I need to see the chat flooded. I'm not moving forward until we go. I need to see the chat flooded. Thank you, Fatima. Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Kobe, Danielle. Danielle says, I need a nap. It's coming soon, Danielle. We almost done. What do I need? 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 I see it. There should be about 32 what do I needs in here. Literally. I'm waiting. So if you didn't type it, you're the one who's holding us back. We ain't running out of time. Sorry, I answered instead of writing it. It's all good, Danielle. What do I need? All right, cool. I got enough of you. It's almost over 25 of you did it. All right, perfect. What do I need? Now, anyone can tell me, why is this question so important to ask? Why is this question such an important question to ask?
The question is important to ask because it will give you a way forward, a direction of what you want, what you need, and where you need to be.
Thank you, Abdul. Right, so he said, like, it gives you direction. Right, think about this for a quick question. When you use your GPS, the GPS asks you, where are you going? Where do you want to go? It starts off with the question, and then you insert the answer. Because by giving the answer, you tell the GPS, I know you got a lot of directions in here. Here's specifically the ones that I need. By asking the question, it gives us direction. Anybody put a 7 in the chat if you've ever felt lost at the start of a day. Like you've been in a day and you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing today. Who's that? Put a 7. I see me, I see 2 7s, right? You see, like, you're like, I don't know what I need to, and the reality is we get lost because we never started the day from a position of found. We never established what this day was about. We never established what is it that I need for today? What are the supplies? What are the tools that I need to be at my absolute best? Junior, you raise your hand, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's also a way because, you know, as long as you ask the question, what do I need? That means you know that you need something. And that's the beginning of it because some people don't even know they need something. So at least, you know, there's a start there.
Junior, 100%, right? I agree with you 100%. Yes, I now know that. Like I didn't even know I need something. And then and I'm going to dive into another thing about why the need part is so important, right? The question of what do I need also reiterates that I am someone valuable, because if somebody needs something, they should have it, right? So when Danielle says, my son needs me, so I'm going to show up even if I'm tired, it's like she's doing that because she wants the son to know that you are valued. So whatever you need, son, I will provide. So when I say, what do I need you to remind yourself by asking this question that you are someone of value. And so no one would ask the question. So if you're like ever feeling low in your self-care and you're like, my self-worth don't feel good, ask yourself the question, what do I need, so that you can reset yourself, almost like resetting your phone. Ask that question so that you can reiterate to yourself, I am somebody, even if everyone else thinks I'm not, I'm someone, and only someone would ask the question of what do I need? Like, ask that. It doesn't make sense to ask the question if you are not somebody, right? I see agree, Sonia, so it says, asking yourself the question elevates self-reward. Ooh, Sonia, you better say that. Ooh, that's good. I like the fact you're using the word self-reward. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Kim says yes, right? I know I am somebody always worried about others than myself. It's just the way I go through the day. And Danielle, I'm like, yeah, I get it, but I want you to go and understand that. Here's the thing, Danielle, there's a quote that says that you can't ever lose your flame lighting another candle. You can never lose your flame lighting another candle, but here's the thing. That quote, as great as it is, assumes that the candle, the original one, is already on fire. If the original candle doesn't have fire, it can't pass fire to another candle that's not lit. And so, Danielle, when I'm speaking to you, I'm not saying you're doing what's wrong. I'm saying to you, Danielle, that is something exciting. And the exciting thing is that even at your best, there's another level that's available. And I don't want you to not go and claim it. There's a prize. Like, I want you to understand that there's something about you. There's a version of you that you have not met yet, that your son has not met yet, that your colleagues have not met yet. And that version of you, we need that version of you. When you're operating at that high level, that immediately makes me check myself to say, why am I not operating at that level? Like, what's wrong with me? And then it helps me to go and ask myself, what do I need to get to that level? But we don't get there if we're not noticing and asking the very question. She said, I was never taught self-love, so I don't know what that looks like. No, absolutely. This is what it looks like. It looks like asking yourself, what do I need? Asking yourself, what do I like? Asking yourself, what I don't like. asking yourself, what do I like to do for fun? Guys, I think when I say self-awareness, what we've been conditioned to do is we learn everything about everyone else, but we never learn anything about us. We never learn anything about us. No one taught us to learn about us. You go to school, they tell you, hey, we're going to study about who wrote the Declaration of Independence. We're going to say where they were. We're going to say Martin Luther King gave have a dream speech. We're going to say who's the president of this, who's the director of that. We are told to study all these facts about others, but never study facts and understand ourselves at a high level. I've done it too. There's celebrities that I'm fond of. One of them is Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is like my favorite comedian and one of my favorite business people. And I know about him more than anyone should really know. It's a little, my wife says, you got a problem. You're a super fan, not a fan, a super fan, right? Like, Gio, what are you talking about? I could tell you right now, Kevin Hart is 5'3" 5'4" on a good day. And because of his height, he likes to wear Paul Smith and Alexander McQueen suits because they make suits for people that are shorter in stature, right? Gio, why do you know that? Now, I'm telling you what Kevin Hart's suit based on his size, but if you ask Gio, what suits go well with you? I don't know. I don't know what suit's good for me. Okay, Gio, what's your favorite cologne? Dad, I don't even know. What's Kevin Hart's favorite cologne? Oh, Le Labo. Why do you know that? Oh, well, I saw a picture of his and I zoomed in. It was all the way in the back. No one ever saw it, but I zoomed in and I said, oh, that's the logo. And I looked it up and I was curious and I found all this information about it. You sit down and you learn so much about others, but you don't know nothing about yourself. And I'm saying that it's important, like self-love is getting to know about you. Think about it, you go on a date and nobody ever asks you any questions. They're like, I don't even ask you what you like. I don't tell you what restaurant or food you like. You're not gonna feel loved if the person doesn't seem to be interested. When we ask questions, we show our interest. Somebody said that earlier when we talked about curiosity. It piques your interest. If it piques your interest, that's just by asking questions. The way for you to go and increase your level of self-love is to go and ask more questions and find out more things about you. You watched that lie detector test video, didn't you? Ramondo, yes, I did watch that. Sorry. The fact that you know I watched the video is making me laugh. That's so good. So knowledge is power. Yes, Jasmine, knowledge is power. And I think the challenge we have is we go to school and we gain knowledge in a lot of things and we just never gain knowledge in ourselves. When I said I want you to go to the University of You, I said that because I understand that there are people in this world who have more knowledge about you than you have about yourself because we've never been taught to study ourselves. We've always been taught to study others and to study other subjects. And so when I'm talking to you today, I'm sharing with you the fact that I want you to go and study you, because when you study you, somebody can take advantage of your lack of awareness. Because here's what happens. Ignorance is very expensive. When you don't know something about yourself, I can play you like a puppet because I have a higher level of awareness about you than you have about yourself. If you've ever seen someone take advantage of you, it's been because their awareness was greater than you had of yourself. Because if I'm aware of what makes me upset, you can invite me to something that will make me upset, but my high level of awareness would tell me, don't make that decision to go. Why would I go? I'm aware that I don't like that stuff. But if I'm not aware of what I like and don't like, someone can invite me to something and I mindlessly will attend it and then end up having a bad experience when I could have saved myself time and energy by not going had I just asked more questions and also interrogated and examined how would I relate to that based on what I know about myself. And so I want us to all walk away, like you should walk away asking yourself more questions so that way you can increase your level of love, so that you can increase your level of care, so that way you can go and do your best. It all comes together. Let me see what I'm saying here. You have to love yourself. But what about, so I see here, but what about when you know about yourself and others try to tell you that you're not like that? That's a good question, right? So that's a conversation, right? So I would go and say, when they say you're not like that, it might be something you believe, but you're not acting out. So let's say you said, I love myself a lot. You say that to yourself, right? I love myself. But then you go into toxic relationships, which are your actions. And now someone says, well, there's no way you could love yourself and go into that relationship. So what happens when they say, you have a high love for yourself, and they say, no, you don't know yourself that well. Oftentimes what they're saying is this thing called cognitive dissonance, which means what you say and what you do don't match. I could say, hey, I'm a hard worker, but if you see me watching TV for 24 hours straight, how hard was I working? I can say it, but how I be it is completely different. What are your actions? What are the activities? So when someone says, oh no, you don't know yourself, they might be communicating to what they're seeing put into practice versus what you firmly believe in your mind. You have to love yourself. I see Kim says, Danielle says, yes, I agree. People try to tell you about you when you are you and know you, right? Jasmine said, wow. I hope that resonated with you, Jasmine. I don't know what you said wow to, but just tell me what you said wow to, just so I can know for my own, I'm curious. Is like work. I don't like my job, but I go to it every day. It's like wearing a different face. But Danielle, you are aware of, I don't like work. That's not bad. Like I think too many times we think it's bad if we don't like something. No, it's good because you know how to avoid it, or you know how to ask yourself, what do I need to be able to do this job that I don't really like, but I need to do it because I need to provide for my family. When you know that, that's why I say self-awareness is important, not just the good parts, the bad parts. What makes you upset? What pisses you? What upsets you? What grinds your gears? Like, what's the thing that you're like, I don't like people who talk too much. I don't like people who self-censor. I don't like people who do this, or like pushovers, or people who take advantage of people. If I know that, then I now know which rooms I need to be in and to make sure that I'm not surrounded by people that I don't like. But I need to know that, right? It's all about questions, asking questions. Rokia says, at this point, we have to love ourselves by force. Nobody can go against an individual for that. It's only right. It leads to positivity overall. Yes, Rokia. And I think the cool thing about it is, it not only leads to positivity overall, we all benefit from that version of you. This is why I think this is so important for leaders to understand this. Good leaders spread good. Leaders who feel bad about themselves can't lead people to the best of their ability. So we need to go and say, hey, let's be selfish, but I understand I'm being selfish for the greater good of all because I'm also part of the all. I'm in it. And so if I'm good too, I can go and take care of you. We think that selfish means I'm first. And it's not actually the definition that I resonate with. I resonate with the definition of selfish meaning me too. It doesn't mean me first. It means me too. That means, hey, Jason, you deserve everything you want. And so do I. Junior, you deserve everything you want. And so do I. Kobe, you deserve everything you want. But so do I. It doesn't mean, Kobe, you want that? Well, I want it too. I got to get it first. You can't have it. No. Selfish means, why can't we all have it? Why can't I have it too? I'm not saying you can't have it. I'm just saying, so can I have it as well? Like, that's not bad. Like, it's actually a good thing to want that, right? Eunice, I agree. Jasmine said, it was when you mentioned when other people have a high level of awareness and you don't, someone can easily manipulate you. Yeah, they can easily manipulate you. I see it in relationships, all kinds of relationships. We do it to ourselves when we don't have a high level of awareness. We end up doing something to self-sabotage ourselves. So here's the next thing I want to do. This is something right here. You want to take a picture of this. You want to take a picture of this because you want this in your phone. You're never going to unforget this when I explain it to you. This is super, super crucial. Unchecked needs lead to unwanted wants. Unchecked needs leads to unwanted wants. You might be saying, Geo, what are you talking about? How is that possible? Well, here's a perfect example. Some of you said earlier, if I don't have breakfast, I'm of no good to nobody. You said that earlier. You said to me, Danielle said, coffee, it's coffee for me. Well, here's what happens. For me, it's breakfast. When I don't have breakfast, which is something that I need, I then end up during the middle of the day deciding I'm going to order a pie of what? Guess what food I'm ordering? So let me see if y'all paying attention. What food am I ordering in the middle of the day? Somebody said it, right? Yeah, there you go. Pizza. I see it in the chat. You guys are following along. Okay, cool. So I end up ordering pizza. But here's the thing, Ramondo, the thing that people don't realize, when I order pizza, I'm not sharing. I'm eating the whole pie myself. Don't judge me, people. I'm eating the whole pie. Now, you might ask myself earlier, Geo, did you want to eat the whole pie? No, I didn't. I don't want to eat the whole pie. But when my need for breakfast is ignored, there's no chance of me not getting the unwanted one. So here's what that looks like in relationships. I need love. When we don't get it, we end up finding it in places we should not get it in. Some of us right now who is listening to me are in a relationship right now that's an unwanted want. I didn't mean to get in your personal business, but I'm just calling a spade a spade. Someone in here is in a relationship or is in the middle of pursuing a relationship that is really an unwanted want. And when I say unwanted want, I'm not saying you don't want the relationship. I'm saying you're settling for something that you would have never wanted, but because you didn't get what you needed, you're willing to settle for the unwanted want. Like, I don't know, I need to just tell you the truth. I'm not here to go and sugarcoat stuff. I'm here to share with you the real, because I want you to really transform. I don't want you to go and have a life less than. I want you to have a life beyond. And so if I want you to have a life beyond, I got to tell you the truth. Some of you are in some unwanted want, AKA entanglements, AKA settling for this, settling for that. And you have unwanted wants. I see, so true. Someone says maybe, but here's the thing. Even if you say maybe, here's the thing I want us to all understand. If it's maybe, that's a curiosity. Ask the question. And if you find out, no, I'm good, that's fine. But don't skip the question, because if you skip the question, by skipping the question, we also skip the answer. So we got to understand unchecked needs lead to unwanted wants. There was times where my self-worth was at 0. And so one day I had a job, I was making good money, but I felt like I wasn't worthy of anything. Like I felt like, I'm nothing. I don't like this. And so what I did was I said, well, what can I do? So I ended up buying a Gucci watch for like $800. And I wasn't making the money I had now. I was like, literally, it was like working at 7-Eleven or something, or at a gym, lifting up, being a personal trainer, getting paid hourly, right? But I bought an $800 watch because I said, if I get an $800 watch, that's surely worth something. And so if I buy it, then I'm worth something, right? But here's the thing, the watch is worth something. But when I put it on, everyone, my self-worth did not change. I still felt bad about myself. And so in that moment, I thought I couldn't buy my self-worth, and I was wrong. The watch is valued at $800, but that's not going to make you feel $800 richer or better. So again, it goes back to that whole self-worth. But the thing is, what I was missing was I didn't feel worthy. And I didn't have that need checked. I didn't remind myself why I should be loved, why I should care for myself. I didn't remind myself that. And so I ended up with an unwanted one. I didn't actually want a Gucci thing. I didn't want a Gucci watch. I don't care for a Gucci watch. For what? It don't even look good in terms of how I tell time. Like for me, I like classic watches. It wasn't classic. But I got it because my unchecked need happened. That's what happened to me, right? I heard Denise says, Denise, I'm so glad to have you on here. Miss you. Money can buy worth. Absolutely, it can. It can. Sonia says, single because I have given enough of myself and it's time to invest in myself so that this self can become her most valuable self. And here's the thing, Sonia, what happens is when you become your most valuable self, you open yourself up to get what is most valuable from anything else, any other relationship, whether it's working, romantic relationships, all these type of things. Tens attract tens. So when you make yourself a 10, you attract tens, but you're not going to catch a 10 being a 5. And if you do catch a 10 being a 5, you won't keep the 10. Self-love above all. Yes. Masking, hoping the worth comes to the surface. Danielle, that's exactly what I did when I bought the watch. That's exactly what I did when I bought the watch, and it didn't work. I literally returned the watch the same day. I went to FedEx. I said, this didn't work, and got my money back. So that was good. It was good that I was aware enough to know it didn't work. If I wasn't aware enough to know it didn't work, or I didn't ask myself the question of how do you feel about it now? If I didn't ask myself that question, I would have an $800 watch that would remind me. Because could you imagine this? Can you imagine if I had the $800 watch and then I kept asking myself, well, how do you feel now? And I said, well, it's still not worth anything. That watch would remind me every time I put it on that I'm worth nothing, even though I paid $100. That's an expensive price to pay to be reminded that you're not anything. $800 for a watch to go and be reminded you ain't nothing. That's a lot. That's expensive, right? But understanding the aware to know that it didn't change you thought of you, right? Like that's huge. That awareness piece, people, please, I beg of you. If you do nothing else, become more self-aware. Ask yourself the questions. Fall in love with you. I want y'all to write a love letter to yourself. When you look in the mirror when you're done with this session, or go and put your phone on selfie mode when you're done with this session, and say a little, love line, pickup line to yourself. But, you know what? That light should bring that left side of your face out. Like I want you to do something silly, but it's not. And I want you to say it silly because I want it to be lighthearted. But this is serious business. People are entering depression. People are doing things like having suicidal thoughts because their needs have just been unmet for so long. We have this thing. There's this thing called a Maslow hierarchy of needs, and we all aspire to get to the top of it. The self-actualization stage. But when my esteem, my sense of love and belonging, my safety, and my physiological being is compromised, I can never achieve it. So physiological is eating, sleep, rest, all those things, right? How does my body feel? Safety, do I feel secure? You're not gonna do your best if you're worried about, dang, how I'm gonna pay the bills. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pay the bills. I don't know if my house is safe. I don't know if my possessions are safe. You're not going to get to self-actualization. If you don't feel like you have love for you and that others have love for you as well, you're not going to have it. And your esteem is not going to be there, and you're never going to accomplish self-actualization. My guy, Andre, what's going on, my guy? Good to see you on here. Denise says, I'd rather buy a $5 wallet and keep $95 in it. Ooh, Denise, look at the financial literacy tip right there. That's so good, right? Hey, I got $100. Denise is talking about someone who got who has like a Chanel bag and they paid $3,500 for it, but they ain't got $5 inside. like Denise is going. Denise went in. Like, y'all got a Chanel bag. Well, so then you buying lunch? Oh, I ain't got no money. like how you don't got no money? You got a Chanel purse though. It's $3,500. Nah, I'm gonna put all the money in the bag. Like I don't got nothing inside. Right, I spent all the coins and nothing to put in it, right? So that absolutely, right? So we need to understand this. So here's the thing. This is going to be the point where I want you to go and start having a conversation. Some of us are probably thinking, what questions should I be asking myself? What questions can I ask to increase my level of self-awareness? How you always broke and look like you balling? Listen. I ain't going there. This is so funny. I love this stuff. Keep going in the chat. Keep talking in the chat. So now let me just give you a series of questions I want you to all think about. And as I bring it up onto the screen, I want you to go and quickly look at the questions. And then I'm going to just ask for 3 volunteers to unmute yourself and answer the questions. Questions that will hold you accountable. Questions that will help you to be present in the moment. Questions to help you evaluate your past. Questions to evaluate what you should do with your present. Questions to help you figure out what should I do with my future. Questions are guides. They're the railings. If y'all suck at bowling, we got to put the railings up so we can make sure that you hit something. These are railings that allow us to not get off course so far that we don't ever find ourselves back on the course again. Questions, crucial. So there's the questions. I'm just quickly read them. How do you currently feel about yourself? Do you engage in activities to escape your reality? What do you think you could never, ever give up? Was there a turning point in your life? How do you spend the majority of your time? Do you feel inspired by someone or something? Are you good at being in the present moment? What was the last thing you purchased? What's on your to-do list that never gets done? When did you last feel disappointed? Do you have any or many guilty pleasures? How do you feel when faced with change? Do you believe in second chances? What's your greatest strength? Also, what is your greatest weakness is something good to know. How do you cope with stress? What would you tell your younger self? These are questions, and there's many questions. You could literally go on Pinterest, type in self-awareness questions, and you'll see hundreds of questions. And I'll honestly tell you, you can't ask enough questions because all the questions give you is more information. More information give you more perspective, more awareness, so that no one else can take advantage of you, but you could take full advantage of whatever it is that you desire. So at this point, I'm almost done. I'm going to share with you at the end, how do we go and develop a self-improvement plan so that way we are able to take advantage of this conversation of elevating our self-love, elevating our self-care, elevating our level of self-awareness, elevating our selfishness, so that way we can go and do our best work. Rokia says, answer for the first question. Currently, I feel decent about myself. And you guys can put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself, but raise your hand if you want to go. There you go. Thank you, Junior. I'm gonna call you in a second. Let me just read what's in the chat. Raise your hand if you want to go as well, to answer audibly, or you can use the chat. Rokia says, answer for the first question. Currently, I feel decent about myself. I have a positive mindset. That's dope. Rokia, that's good to know. And it's a good question to ask regularly so that you can notice the shift between I feel good, I got positive. Because one day if you ask that question, Rokia, 3 weeks from now, maybe around finals, how do I currently feel about myself, right? Maybe when you have to go and submit papers, how do I currently feel about myself? If you start to see yourself not having the positive mindset, you can then ask yourself follow-up questions of what changed. What is happening that allowed me to go from positive to negative? Because by asking that question, I can then go and address it, right? So that's so good that you know exactly that question. You have the answer to that. Danielle says, the turning point for me was being in foster care. Wow. Wow, Danielle, wow. This is so key. By asking that question as this turning point, Danielle, I'm curious, what about that turning point? What did that turning point teach you? What information do you have or new level of awareness you have as a result of your turning point?
Can I talk? Unmuted. Can I talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you asked me, sorry. No, so with me was that, well, I'm 30 now, doesn't matter. But when I went into foster care, it was like a month away from me turning 10 years old. So the way that it'll happen, going from my home, even though it wasn't great, I'm born in the 90s. So that's where, females were being abused and stuff like that. So I had to see all of that in the home and know that was a norm. I don't condone that in my relationships going forward. So like once any little thing, stuff like that I see, I walk away. But just in general, foster care changed me because it had me depressed because I was in, foster care. And this is what one of my thesis paper was for my communication class. It's like, it's supposed to help, and protect children who are, taken out of these dangerous homes and supposed to give them a safety net. But unfortunately, the homes that I were in were basically worse off than where I came from. So therefore, like I was anorexic, like I just went through a whole bunch of different, being skinny, light skin. I have a lazy eye. That's what I was saying certain things in the chat. Like I said, I've been masking because it's just something that I grew up masking. So I knew how to hide it. So even today, like I can feel a certain way deep down inside and know it mentally. I know what my triggers are, but I'm so good at masking it that I can still give 1,000 and nobody knows that I'm hurting inside. Like I've literally, like even this past, like with last semester, I went to work and had a kidney stone and didn't even know it. I had to end up in an emergency room right after, and I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. Sheesh. But I went through work, and because I'm so used to just on go, because I work in medical, I work in the pediatric office. I'm so used to being on go that when my body can't communicate to me that something is wrong, because I don't shut myself down. I'm just still up and moving. There's no downtown for me. Even with my son,
yep.
I don't say, mommy can't do this or that. I just do it. And then at the end of the day, like even when he's asleep or something like that, I still have things to do. So I still don't turn myself off to think about me.
This is, and like, first of all, I think it's super cool that look how much information you have, right? Like look how much information you have about yourself, which is so good that I'm glad you are aware of those things. You know, because I think that really changes the game. And here's a cool thing about asking these questions. By asking these questions, Danielle, here's an interesting thing. Tiffany Haddish was in, if you've heard of her, right? Tiffany Haddish, a comedian. She was in foster care. She had this thing called the She Ready Foundation, where she really talks about this whole idea of, you know, a lot of people in foster care, when they move from house to house, they're oftentimes their items are put in garbage bags, which reiterates to them that they're not worth anything, right? And so what she did in her foundation is she collects donations for suitcases so that people can put their valuables in something other than a garbage bag. But how would she have known that if she wasn't aware of how it made her feel? And then it led to her creating her nonprofit to make sure no one else feels that way. The same thing you said earlier about, I'm never going to make my child feel this certain way because of how you are aware of it. So you're able, because of your awareness, to do better for your future and the futures of others because of your awareness of what it did to you in your past. That's super important. So please, these are the questions that we ask that we normally don't do that. And what we do with questions like these is, like you said, Danielle, hey, I'm always on the go. These questions, even if it's for like a quick minute, give us a chance to pause. Like, it's like, go, it's cool. But it's like, yo, like, if you think about like, even like my computer, it tells me it has X amount of charges available. If I just stay charging it over and over again, I'm going to make it die faster. Like just by that awareness, but because I know how many charge cycles it has, I now know, let it go to 0 and then charge it over again so you don't use up all your cycles. But that level of awareness is super, super important. Thank you so much for sharing that, Danielle. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Let me read, is it Derice? I hope I said your name correctly. Derice, I think it is.
Yes, you said it correctly.
Ooh, I'm not good with names, so I'm glad I got it correctly. Derice said, the thing about, she said, I cope with stress by doing yoga, meditating, and lots of ice cream, right? So this is good. She knows literally what I need. I need yoga. I need meditation. I need some ice cream. You know, give me a little Haagen-Dazs, a little Ben & Jerry's. You know, when I'm a little stressed out, if there's an exam, I gotta go and get me a little ice cream. Derice, what's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Vanilla.
That's the only flavor. Don't everybody judge me. Vanilla, the only one. I'm with you, Derice. So like vanilla ice cream, right? But at least you know that. So that here's the cool thing by having this knowledge. By knowing that about yourself, you now are able, when you are about to get into a stressful situation, go get the ice cream. Don't wait for the stress. Go get the ice cream. You know the stress is coming, so get the things that you need to be able to handle that stress better. So you get the ice cream, you go get your yoga mat, you meditate, you know, you do a little yoga and stuff like that, help yourself with a little mindfulness. And then you're able to not 100% erase the stress, but lessen it enough so that you can still function at a high level. So thank you so much for sharing that. That's so good. That's so good. Somebody, Derice, ice cream is dangerous. Mine is pineapple coconut. Like, I like it. I like it. Jasmine says, I think I could never give up being a nurturer. I love helping people. Jasmine, people are gonna love being around you then, right? Because you like to help people. I think that's super cool that you know that about yourself, but that also gives you a clue, Jasmine, on what jobs you should be trying to get. If they put you in a job and they say, hey, we want you to go and work on this machine, you're like, that's not nurturing people. I want to love on people. I want to take care of people. How's me taking this machine and fixing it? So maybe you're not going to be the computer repair person, right? Like maybe that's not the way you would express your highest form of yourself in terms of nurturing. So you know when you have this information, it helps you make better decisions.
I was gonna say specifically, I left out helping people transition.
Transition in what way?
Positive ways, like if they came out of like jail or
Okay.
if they childhood trauma, stuff like that, trying to redirect. I like stuff like that.
That's good. So now that gives you a clue. What are you studying by any chance? Just out of curiosity.
So I majored in liberal arts because I didn't have an idea.
Okay.
But now that I'm in like my 8th week, like I'm starting to ask questions, like you said, and I'm going into the direction of my field. I think I'm gonna go into like psychology or sociology, stuff like that.
Yeah, you see, look at that. You get clues already, Jasmine, by asking the question. Now you know maybe social services, psychology, so I can understand how the human mind works, so that I can help people transition better from these different things, like you said, being incarcerated, childhood trauma. If I understand what it does mentally, then I can help people at a higher level. This is good. This is good. This is why I've got to be more self-aware, so that way we don't go and pick the wrong major and be in school a lot longer than we needed to be in the first place. So that's good. That's good. Let me go and get the people who have their hand up. Kim, I'm gonna go to Junior. I'm gonna call you second. Kim, let me get you. I haven't heard from you audibly. So what question did you answer?
Oh, the question that I answer, what was the turning point in your life? My turning point in my life was going back to college.
Tell me more.
When I was young, I was in college and I dropped out. But I worked, I had good jobs and everything. And when I was in my 30s, I became disabled. And when I became disabled, it was like I had the hardest time trying to find a job.
Got you.
So what ended up happening, I said, well, I'm going to go back to college and get retrained. And so I've been in college ever since.
That's good. That's good. Then you had an obstacle, but you said, hey, what can I do differently, or how do I position myself to be able to get other opportunities because of what happened to me? And I think that's important too, to think like when something happens to us, it's not a period. We could choose to put a period at the end of the sentence, or we can go and put a comma and decide to go and do something differently. And so I think that that's super cool that you went ahead, Kim, and said, hey, listen, I get this is a situation that I'm in. And because I'm in that situation, I now have to approach it from a different perspective. And going back to college allows me to be able to, like you said, get retrained, get your skills sharp, so that way you can go and be a higher valued person in the marketplace when you go and get back to work, or find different ways to work. So I think that's super cool that you know that, and it can help you propel you into whatever your next is, because you now know the purpose behind why you're here.
Yes. Thank you.
Good job, Kim. Good job. Never be a victim of circumstances, says Denise. Absolutely. Junior, your turn.
Okay. Waited long enough. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
But I think mine is, do you believe in giving second chances?
Mhm.
And I think you do. I think I do, at least. One time I didn't, actually. I didn't think that. I thought that if you done wrong, that especially depending, it was mostly like murderers or people like that. Like if you've done extreme wrongs, you shouldn't be given a second chance.
Mhm.
Until I'm not much of a religious person, but I started following this clinical psychiatrist. Um, and his name is Jordan Peterson, by the way.
I've heard of Jordan
He's a
Peterson. His
little
book.
he's a little controversial now, but
Yep.
I think his work is pretty self-explanatory. I watched his Bible lecture on the series, him talking about the Bible, and he spoke about something that really like hit me. He was like, every person has a hint of the transcendence. They have a small piece of divinity, every single person. And so that means that even criminals, they have to be given a chance, a second chance, a chance at a redemption, something so that they can claw back and be like, yeah, I did wrong,
So
and I'm gonna fix
is that
myself.
is that where? So is that what shifted your perspective in believing in second chances?
Yes, it did. It really did. I think majorly, because it's like, yeah, that's true. It's like even our rules have to bend to their transcendence. to, even if they've done what we would consider abhorrent wrongs, they still have a second chance. You know, they can come back and be like, okay, I can right my wrongs somehow and and you know, have this redemption arc. You know, that's why people love redemption arcs and stories.
That is true.
Uh,
We do love the second chance stories.
like
Those
if a villain turns around and becomes good, that's like wow.
those are the most common movies is often have those storylines. So but that's good. Thank you for sharing that. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. I see Kobe, you have your hand up. I'm gonna call you in a second. I'm just read what Sonia said in the chat. She said, my inspiration isn't from someone else. I am my inspiration. Self-inspiration, I see. I crave a place in this life that serves a purpose. Growing up, there wasn't people around me to emulate. And so I decided that it's on me to become someone that my future generation could emulate. Oh my gosh. Sonia, I love that. I love the fact that like, yo, listen, I didn't have examples, so I decided to go and be an example. Oh my gosh. I don't know where you find these people, Jason, but these people are absolutely amazing. Like, this is what I'm talking about. This is the type of people we need in the world. Like, we need people who are self-aware. We got people who like, hey, when somebody does something wrong, we need people who are going to believe in second chances. We need people who's going to go and have turning points in their lives and still want to go and persevere and move forward. Like, we need these kinds of people. So, Kobe, unmute yourself. Talk to me. I feel like I'm doing a radio show. Talk to me, Kobe.
It does sound like it. What's up, everyone? So I'm going to answer, do you engage in activities to escape your reality? And not anymore, but I used to smoke a lot of weed.
Okay.
And I thought I was like enhancing my reality because it made me feel good. But I was really escaping it. And I found that out just waking up and feeling like really sluggish and having headaches and stuff. So I was just like analyzing what it was doing for me. And it really wasn't doing any good. Besides in that moment.
Yo, that's so dope. Kobe, first of all, I appreciate you sharing that, because I think like sometimes we don't realize you know, that we are even escaping reality. And I love the fact that you, at one level of awareness, you thought it was serving you in the way of enhancing your reality, and then being able to be still present enough to realize that that feeling of feeling sluggish is giving you new information. And now you could evaluate maybe alternative ways to escape your reality. Because I do believe sometimes we do have to escape it, because sometimes there's a lot to bear. But also sometimes we want to do it in a way where maybe it doesn't give us a side effect that we'd never desired, right? So like no one says, hey, I want to wake up sluggish. But somebody might say, I do want to escape my reality. So maybe in your case, Kobe, you may have found other ways. I'm just curious, because I'm the curiosity, I'm a cat, right? What way did you identify to now replace that so that you do escape your reality? Or what do you do now so that you don't have to escape? I think this is just good information just for all of us, because we all have methods of escape. Like I watch Sports Center and maybe Netflix for a little too long, you know, whatever it is for everyone. Everyone has their thing. So what did you identify to help you with that?
Well, I'm a dancer, so you know, I just fill my space with, you know, more time to create and just do me.
I love that. I love that. I love what he said though. I love Kobe said, I am blank, right? I am a dancer. When you know who you are, you know what to do, right? It's like I talked to my niece and I said, hey, you're a cat. And all of a sudden she starts going meow. I'm like, hey, you're a dog. And she starts barking, right? Like once you know who you are, you know what actions to take. And so I am is also a positive thing. So another question is, who am I? Who am I? Like that's another question that can go and bring a high level of clarity. So I've got about 10 more minutes. I want to also open up for questions, but let me just go through a couple more slides just to let you guys know how to go through this, right? So the self-improvement plan has 3 E's. And basically the 3 E's is experiment, experience, and examine. Whenever you're going through these things and you ask these questions, you're going to get new information. When you get new information and you have this new level of awareness, you want to experiment. What is that? Like, what is that actually happening? What is that? Experiment. And I use the word experiment because experimentation doesn't have failures. You might say, Gio, what are you talking about? It doesn't have failures. When you do an experiment, in the beginning of it, you make an educated guess, which is called a hypothesis. If your educated guess is proven wrong at the end of the experiment, it's not called failure, it's called discovery. So you can't lose. You either win or you're found to be, your original statement is true, or you learn, you don't lose. And so experiment is a nice framework when you get new information. Experiment with it, give it a try. See if what you feel is true versus assuming it's true. Experience, right? Engage with it to see if that works, right? So some people, smoking weed makes them relaxed, and maybe they're not sluggish, but some other people, they're sluggish. Experience, I'm not saying, and please don't think I'm saying, hey guys, this is go to weed, smoke weed. This is not what Gio's saying. What I'm saying is that when someone gives you information that can possibly help you, we need to examine it. We need to go and look at it from a zoomed out perspective and say, hold on, let me go and do some research. Let me gather some more information. Let me ask more questions. Let me ask more questions that might give me more information so that I can go and get a solution that is suitable for me. So looking at it through these lenses will be super helpful. And here's the way you want to do it. You want to engage with what works. So if you try something and it works, do it again, right? Like engage with it, and that becomes part of your new personal plan. If it doesn't work, show it the exit sign, because there are more than one way to do something. So if one way doesn't work for you, you're not lost. You just actually are found, because you found what doesn't work. Thomas Edison, they said it took him 10,000 tries to go and get the light bulb, but he identified the fact that he found 10,000 ways that did not work. That's information. He now knows what doesn't work. That's information, even though it took him a lot of failures in order to get there, right? Or quote unquote failures. So you want to do that. Now, for example, some of us, we said stress, right? What do you do with stress? For some, it's meditation. Experiment with it. Experience it. I took a meditation class. It didn't make me more relaxed. I felt more stressed about what I was doing. So in that situation, I showed the exit sign. But reading a book, when I did that, it changed something for me. For some of you, working out eliminates your stress. For some of you, working out is stressful. So maybe that's not the way you overcome stress. But you want to experiment, get some experience so that you have evidence to support what you're saying, and then examine the evidence to say what is true, what is false, what to keep, what to leave alone. That's how we navigate through that, right? So example. So here's what I want to do. I have this thing called a Geo self-care kit, where I have a series of songs to keep your mood up, a series of books that can help you with your level of self-awareness, your leadership. And then there's a series of personality tests that can help you to identify more in line with how you move, how you think, how you come to conclusions, right? So I want to give this to you guys, but here's what I need. Because I think it's extremely valuable. This has taken all the years of my life, all the resources, and I'm giving it to you. You don't have to go and look for it. You might find songs that say, Gio, I examined it, don't like that song. Cool. But still, songs help create moods. So find a song that gets you into the mood that you want to get into whenever you're doing something. What books do you like? What knowledge do you need, right? Tests, know more about you. I have a long list. So here's how you get the self-care kit. You take a screenshot. I'm going to share with you the screenshot. It's going to be on the next slide. You post what was your favorite gem from today. We was together for an amazing 2 hours. I would honestly tell you this is the highlight of my week, being with all of you and getting a chance to meet new people. I got to see some names that I haven't seen in a while, and I got to see some familiar names like Andre and Denise, and Isabel was on here as well. So I got to see some old faces as well, but I got to meet some new people. I want you to go and post your favorite gem, and I want you to tag me on social media so that I can know what your account is, so I can stay in touch with you. You're going to post this. This is the picture right here. I want you to take a screenshot, and I want you to go and tag me on it. Like you see my handles on the bottom. Put what was your biggest takeaway today, because I need to make sure that all the other classes ask you what you learned. I want to know, what did you learn about you today? What did you learn as you went and attended your university today? What was your takeaway today and just tag me in it. If you tag me in it, I'm gonna send you the self-care kit. It's gonna tell you the songs. I got 10 songs, I got 10 books for you guys. So I want you to go and get access to that. If you're watching the replay and you're like, Gio, I still wanna get that self-care kit as well, just take a screenshot of this slide right here, write in whatever it is on the Insta story or whatever it is, put what your biggest takeaway was, tag me in it so I can go and be notified because I need to know who am I sending it to. And then we'll move on from there. I'll send it to you, you let me know. And then if any way I can help you in your self-care journey, then I know it's self-care, but if there are resources that I can help you to get you engaged in that environment, please do not hesitate to go and let me know. Follow me on social, show me your takeaways. That's my time. I thank you guys so much. I know we got about like 4 or 5 minutes. Is there any questions that I can answer? You can unmute yourself, put it in the chat. If there are any questions you may have, let me just put the slide back up here for those who did not take the picture of it. So you can go take a picture of it and put your best takeaway, tag me on social media. And we're good. So any questions, feedback in the comments. Was this helpful? Was this a good session? Are you glad you spent your Friday here at the Student Leadership Academy doing these workshops? Let me see it in the chat. How was it? What questions you have? Feedback. What did you think about this session? Talk to me, people. Does it still work? Is my chat working? Isabel, you got your hand raised. What's up? Hey, there she is. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Nice to
Good.
see you.
Good to see you again.
Nice to
How's
see
everything?
everyone. Thank you so much, Help, for this wonderful presentation. I am really glad to see you again. Thank you so much. I am learning a lot from you every single time. Thank you. And thank you also for the book. I love the book, what you are presenting. I read and I will read another time because your stories, like some stories made me cry.
Wow.
Yeah, that's wonderful to learn about you. Thank you so much. I didn't expect what kind of person are you, but you are, God bless you to you. And thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for everything.
Isabel, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. That's so good. Now you got me excited. But if my wife see me when I come home and she's like, why are you smiling so hard? I like Isabel gave me a nice, beautiful Hallmark card with original words of gratitude. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right, Gio. I know there's some more comments coming in.
I see it. I wasn't scrolling. My bad, guys. I see it.
I want to honor everybody's time. I want to thank everybody for being here on Friday afternoon for the workshop. I really want to appreciate Gio and give him a nice big round of virtual applause or however you want to do it. You know, I love you. I appreciate you. It's always a pleasure to have you come. And for the folks who were listening to what Isabel was talking about, when Gio spoke at the CUNY Emerging Leaders Conference last year, we were able to purchase like 100 copies of his book to send out to people who participated and wrote a review in our survey of Gio's work. I miss the times that we get together where we're in person. Because you're so dynamic. You still capture it in the Zoom, but I think that, you know, when we're all in real life together and we're in that room and we get to see you fully in action, it's the full, the full experience of Gio Derice. But as I say to you many times over the course of the workshops that we do, like many others who will come and speak, Gio can be a tangential mentor to you. Right, he's not going to reach out to you every day, but if you do take this opportunity to engage with him, follow him on social media, and then engage him in conversation, I can attest to the fact that he will contact you back, be supportive of you, give you ideas, give you resources, references, things that will make you better on your journey, or help you to hone your skills, however you want to look at it in terms of your takeaways from today, and as you move along in your leadership journey. So take that as an opportunity. He's given that to you today. I also want to say thank you for being here, and so many new people. It's great to have you with us. For the returning folks, thanks for being here and continuing to support the program. Geo is an example of somebody who sort of was mentored and worked with people who also will come later on down the road, or has mentored other people who will come and speak down the road. And so it's a great family, a great community, a great opportunity to sort of have these learning experiences on a week-to-week basis. So I want to thank you, Geo.
Thank you.
Best to your wife, best to your family. We'll look forward to see you soon. Stay in touch, and everybody else, thank you for being here. I want to wish you a happy Friday, good weekend. If you're volunteering on Sunday with me, I'll be out there early in the morning at Orchard Beach to send some information about that. If not, we'll see you next week, hopefully at the next workshop with our good friend Brian Rashid.
Awesome. All right, everyone, take care.
Do this. All right. And take care, everybody. Have a good weekend. Thanks for being here. I like to do this. Bye, Andre. Bye, Joy. Bye, Roxy. Bye, Isabel. Bye, Junior. Bye, Lamb. Bye, Pascaline. Bye, Kim. Bye.
Have a good weekend.
Bye, Sonia Joe. Bye, Jennifer. Bye, Buampandi. Bye, Kathleen. Bye, Sabrina. Bye, Jasmine. Bye, Cynthia. Bye, Amy. Bye, Zenora. Bye, Ashanti. Bye, Rosanna. Bye, Denise. Bye, Haman. Bye, Chelsea. Bye, Chris. Bye, Mersada. Bye. I think I got everybody. Bye, Rokia. Bye. Bye, Cynthia.
Thank you, Giovanni. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, man. Happy Hanukkah, man. Yeah.
Bye, everybody. Take care.
See you soon, man. Happy Hanukkah. Bye.